There we are.
Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to this month's Player Spotlight series featuring Cincinnati's resident Pikachu player, Cadence. Um, Cadence, I kind of do this a little informally here in the beginning, because everybody knows, our gamer tags and, stuff like that, but it's like, kind of like, talk about yourself a little bit, real name, whatever, maybe what you do outside of Smash, that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, my name is Jake Harold. I just graduated from UC in May of 2020 with a music education degree.
Dub.
Oh yeah, big dub. I'm not using it like for teaching in a school right now. I am doing some private trombone lessons on the side, but of course with that timing it was like right in the midst of the pandemic and my mother was immunocompromised, so I wasn't really trying to work in a school environment at that time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that
So
makes
I'm
sense.
doing private lessons with that right now, as well as working at Longhorn as a server. So that's pretty much what the grind has been for me during quarantine.
Well, you definitely want to be safe, especially with your mother being immunocompromised. I would be the same way. I don't know if I'd leave my house.
Exactly.
I'd,
Have to be
I'd, I'd
very
be
careful.
I'd be a little nervous, so to speak. Well, welcome. It's good to see you. I haven't laid eyes on you in well over a year at this
A
point,
long
so it's
time, yeah.
definitely good to see your face. So let's just start with during the quarantine. Have you even been like practicing Smash at all?
Yeah, well, at first I did try and do a couple of the Kuro NALs, you know. I did the first one and I think I got top 8, 7. I used Solo Rob though, no Pikachu at all on that one. And then
You betrayed the
me and
rat.
exactly. Well, he's terrible on Wi-Fi, so I had to try the robot instead. Let's see. Then I did the second one with Sai. We played in the doubles tournament. I think we actually got second in that. We had some fun complications with playing a team from like the Caribbean or something, and then my controller died in the middle of one of the sets. It was a good time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the
But
the, the downside to Wi-Fi.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm very lucky in that I just recently moved in with Hive or Alex ZZZ or
No, he's just
Easy
Hive.
or Thank You Next,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call them these days.
He's
So
he's Hive. I mean, when it comes to Momza, he's Hive. I'm sorry. Yeah,
exactly.
and I'll
No,
tell
I
him right
still
to his
call him Hive
face.
and I live with him.
He has told
Exactly.
me out loud, he's like, hey, you should call me Alex. And people are like, yeah, Hive, sounds good. Interesting. That's just how it is. I don't know why. Poor guy.
I try and break the habit. Like when I'm talking to my parents, I'm like, yeah, you know, Alex is doing well. But then anybody that's like from Smash, it's, you know, this is Hive. But speaking of him, he's very high level practice, obvious. So it's super cool to have him just right next door, not next door, right in the next room, and be able to grind with him whenever, you know.
Right, definitely. So you've stayed away from the Wi-Fi tournaments. You know, you've decided to keep your sanity by not,
Yeah, I couldn't do it for too
participating
long.
in them.
Tournament nerves in my own bedroom was hitting me weird. I did not like that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you would think that tournament nerves, as many tournaments as you've played in, or even just the weeklies and stuff like that, that there wouldn't be any nerves at all, even if it's Wi-Fi.
Well, it's like that feeling of getting ready to compete and like wondering if you're going to stack up. And I'm like, why am I experiencing this at home? It's giving me like a dissonance here, you know?
The tournament nerds are for tournament settings, not in the comfort of your own bedroom.
Exactly. Like I'm here to relax, not to be having anxiety over a video game.
Do you want to talk? Because you and I have talked about it before. Do you want to talk a little bit? Like obviously in Cincy, right? You're very like you're considered high level for at least our region, right? Nobody goes into a set with you and it's like, oh, Jake, Cadence, easy win, right?
I
But
mean,
you still get tournament nerds.
Fritos.
Other
Fritos
than
probably a
Fritos,
couple
yeah. But
and TCMK
there's
and
there's
Hive,
like
but
four
like you
people,
said,
mate.
I've got my demons.
You got your demons, but you've double eliminated Dark Shadow, right? So like
That is
at
true.
a local
I
level,
I
you're at
have
least
one of
very
the
good.
best records on him in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Uh, Probably bar doorstop. It
So
would be me, but That's a matchup thing.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what it's like to be like one of the higher level players in a region and then still having tournament nerves, like going to a local, and then how do those change when you like go to a monthly or a regional? Like what goes through your head? How do you talk yourself through it?
Well, I don't know if everybody experiences it the same way I do, of course, but I just hold myself to a super high standard, So it's mainly like intrinsic pressure where like even if nobody else is looking at my results and giving a crap about my results, I am like, man, I could have done better today. I could have done X, Y, Z better. Like, why wasn't I more sharp in this moment? And I just let those kind of thoughts get to me all the time. And like even driving up to a weekly or a monthly, I'm like, man, I don't get to compete super often, so this is my chance to finally have a big breakout, And then it like never comes to fruition, and it just becomes this cyclical thing over and over and over.
Fair enough.
But as far as the monthlies go, I realized recently the trick is probably to stop drinking the night before monthly, so you feel in ship shape in that monthly. So we're gonna try applying that one once quarantine's over.
I have a little bit of an inside scoop when it comes to the cadence routine before monthlies, and I will say that if you were to take every single monthly and add all of the hours of sleep that Jake got before it, it would be less than I got before one of the times I went to a monthly. Right, so he may have had total 10 hours of sleep in the last 2 years competing right before a monthly, and that is what I get before one. So I think when offline comes back, we're going to see some non-sleep deprived Cadence, and maybe some Nair loops with Pikachu, but no promises there.
The other issue is I think my Pikachu is a very like bracket dependent character. Like I got to get a lucky bracket to go super far, and if I run into like XYZ person, then I get screwed early. You know what I mean? So the kind of stuff can put pressure on me too if I'm like looking at my bracket ahead of time and I'm like, oh Lord, this person's in my path, or if this person beats this person, I have to play them. Like I just psych myself out way too much when it comes to that stuff, and even as I've gotten better at the game, it hasn't really gone away. So hopefully I'll one day.
And we have Timbo's one of his dogs kind of chiming in on that as well. So,
give me 1 second. I'm gonna go ask him in person how he feels about that. Let me.
That was Leo, wasn't
it? So while Timbo's checking on one of the dogs, so let's talk a little bit about why you main Pikachu. I mean. I heard you say that you did Rob for the one Wi-Fi tournament. So, do you have a secondary? I know anytime I've seen you at an AL, the times that I go, or when you were at Curb Stomped, and yeah, you really made Mindset mad.
Oh my god, that was such a crazy
story. That was so sick. I've watched that quite a few times. But so yeah, why did you decide Pikachu was the one for you as out of the 10,989 characters there are in the game?
So of course I started playing competitively in Smash 4, and excuse me. Nobody ever has any clue what's going on with the competitive scene when they first start out competitively, and you look for those resources online of like Smash 4 top tier characters, who's good in Smash 4, and I found that like tiermaker.com website or whatever it is, or Event Hubs maybe had a tier list. I don't even remember what it was at this point, but like some totally irrelevant website that like no actual Smasher or like top player would reference, And I was looking through the list, and I'm like, I don't even think I own this character yet. I didn't buy this one yet because I didn't even have the DLC at that point. So I'm like, not maining them. And then I was looking for like the less common ones among like top 10, because I've been a top tier player, a tier whore, if you will, from the very beginning. Like it has, from the very beginning, I'm like, I'm gonna play a good character if I'm gonna compete in something. So. I think Pikachu was ranked like 6th on that list, and I'm like, nobody knows how to play Pikachu. No one's going to know how to fight him. I guess I'll try and learn him. And here we are.
So wait, so you started out in 4 and you didn't play Bayo. You you didn't pick the number 1 character in 4. You decided, oh, let me go down to number 6 and I'm going to
Well,
choose him
fast
instead.
forward like a year or so, and then I'm playing mainly Bayo by the end of the game. Like, I think my last
Aha.
4 monthly, I played only Bayo.
Okay. See, now a little bit of the truth comes out on that one as
She gets
well.
us all in the end, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a common theme, right? So he was playing Pikachu for a very long time, and then a new character came out who was debatably top 5 and has sunk pretty much all of his time into them. So this is a common Cadence experience.
Yeah,
Where he
so
goes, that's the
Mithra
best
is
character.
kind of hidden a little bit for me. Y'all aren't ready for my Mithra.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna have a little pocket character there in your back pocket that you're gonna test out when we can go back to in real life monthlies.
The whole quarantine era, I pretty much played Rob and would like pull out Pikachu 1 out of like 50 games to like shake the rust off. So at this point, I would say I'm like co-main status almost with Pika Rob, or like would definitely try Rob if Pikachu wasn't working. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
I,
So you
not,
didn't
I would
like pick
say
him up
not
because
really.
Isam played Pikachu.
Usually when I pick a character up, it's to start figuring out how to beat them. But with Pikachu, no, that was like my original Smash 4 main was Ness, which is just like crazy to think about now because I freaking hate Ness. But yeah, I eventually got on the Pikachu grind.
Me too. I hate the little kids in the game. Everybody knows that. If anybody's been
And
around
I
moms in a tournament, I hate the little kids.
I remember you yelled
You're
about
absolutely
them
right.
at Curb Stomp. That was so funny.
I did, and I
Well,
didn't mean to like do it that loud at curve stuff because you can hear it like in the stream and everything.
if it was TCMK, he
And
deserved all
it was
the best.
TCMK.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he deserved it.
Yeah, he was kind of like he's kind of like a thorn in Frito's side. Although right before,
Me too.
but right before everything kind of right before Frostbite, I think was the last major I was able to take him to. He actually beat TCMK and bracket and whatnot. So I think he's got that one down. So if that's the case and that can remain consistent, then everybody knows in our scene in Cincy, Dark Shad is like the thorn in everybody's side, regardless of the character that you play.
Is he? Is he the thorn in everybody's side? Cadence?
I would
Everybody's side.
I mean,
Wow.
has anybody dethroned Dark Shad at an AL Weekly? I mean, I don't know. I don't go to all of them, so I mean.
Right, he's the most consistent player at AL by far, and if you put him in results versus anybody, he's probably going to do better than most people that attend AL. But like, there are some head-to-heads where I just don't think he has the matchup. It's interesting. I'll beat him in winners, and then 90% of the time when that happens, he destroys me in losers like 3-0, like pop, 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 GG's, like real quick. But there was the one set where I double eliminated him, and I don't think most people get to do that at AL. That's like my one brag point.
That's awesome. I mean, I'd be like, I'd get a shirt printed or something.
Yeah, like a double limb shed. Yeah.
Right. That's like if I ever, finally like sign up for something and I don't automatically go like, 02. I swear the next time majors come back, I am literally buying one of the 02 shirts. I'm not leaving a tournament without one. And then that way, when I finally do something, I mean, you can believe Mom's is going to be wearing a shirt that, I went 1-1,
Yeah,
or whatever it is.
That's hilarious.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Let's flip a little bit back to a little of the mindset, I guess, because there is a certain mindset that needs to take place, especially if you want to play this game competitively. So, what kind of mindset do you typically have, or do you go into, whether it's regionals, monthlies, weeklies, and what makes you want to play this game competitively like you do?
It's interesting. It's hard, like I was saying before, to not stack yourself up against everybody that's attending a tournament, but like as a TO, it's my tendency to just peruse and see who's attending this, and I have a pretty good idea of everybody in the region skill based on that knowledge, and yeah, it'll I'm sorry. I lost track of the first part of this thought. Start
It's
over.
okay. It's what makes you want to play this game competitively, because I mean it can be a very frustrating game. I mean,
Oh yeah,
and that goes without saying.
Okay. So you don't want to go in thinking that you're like the best person in the room ever, because that's just gonna get you knocked flat on your butt when you inevitably lose to somebody. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Maybe other people do come in, they're the best player in the room, but for me, that's just a setup for failure. But at the same time, you can't sell yourself short either. Thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go O2, like this is a free L, like screwed. It's a fine balance point. It's interesting because if you hear DeBuzz talk about this topic, he says that he thinks that he is going to lose when he goes into a set, and that works for him. It's like everybody is different, because that would just make me like play like crap. You know what I mean? Like, oh, what's the point? But everybody's got their own thing, I guess. And as far as wanting to compete goes, I played casually all throughout even elementary school, and then Emma, of course, has been one of my best friends for a while, and we played Brawl together in high school for a while, then Smash 4 when it came out, and a manager at my first job ever that was like, hey, I know you talk about being into Smash, there's this place up in Fairfield called Arcade Legacy, you should go check it out sometime, they run tournaments, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I seriously, I admire you guys when it comes to, just kind of really like sticking with it, because it's really frustrating to, I mean, I guess maybe it's more me than anything, but, and that's not, I guess that's not true, because I've seen like even Frida's frustrations at times, during
Like
tournaments and everything.
Soul.
Yeah.
When you put your whole soul into something, you're going to get frustrated no matter how good of a mindset you have. Like, you always are striving to do better, so hard not to beat yourself up with that stuff, but the positive growth-based mindset is really what you want, where rather than thinking like, oh, I suck, I'm the worst, you want to actually think about like, what cost me the game? What decisions did I make that costed me to lose? And I think Vitos is a prime example of somebody that's really good at that stuff, because his improvement is like, from even the beginning of Ultimate, he was like middle of the pack, and now he's like threat to win anything he's at almost. I feel like, so
yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Mindset. I appreciate you saying that. Timbo, anything that you want to typically? I know you like the battle at this point. You like to follow up, with your mentality, type additional questions.
So I think we talked about that before, but I did want to use this as an opportunity to give Cadence to defend himself. Because if you've ever been to an AL, if you've ever played Cadence, you know that most people will play him and be like, man, he holds forward and hits a lot of buttons. But he and I have had conversations where I know he's doing more than that. He's adapting. He's actually thinking. So, Jake, I want to give you the opportunity to explain to people how you approach the game. Not like just how you approach each matchup, but what is going through your head when you're playing. Why would you describe your play style not as much of mashing as it is a refined flowchart? So what's going through your head?
See, I feel like you're propping me up a little bit more than I deserve there, because some of it is mashing, but it's like if they are unable to hit you because they're being hit, like, why would you stop? And Pikachu is a super low lag character, so if you put somebody in the air and you have a hitbox you can throw out and near them, why would you not keep doing it if it's low lag and like a free guaranteed to not get punished for doing it? If you swing at somebody, they have to either jump away, air dodge, or hit you. And if you get them to do one of those things, next time they're still in the air, they have one less option now because they did one. You know what I mean? So you just play process of elimination and keep pressuring them, put them in that situation. You're like, okay, you jumped here last time. Let me just get ahead of you and hit where you're going to jump. You know what I mean? Those kinds of things.
See, that to me is just, I honestly don't know how you guys do it. I mean, I know like when I play, here at home with Fritos and everything, he doesn't play me any different than than like if he's, you know, sitting down playing friendlies with somebody else. He's like
That's probably true.
in my face, and it's like I'm like, now I'm sounding like the button masher because I'm just like trying to do something like, just let me hit him one time.
Just getting the chance to breathe, yeah.
Right, you know, I need a chance to breathe, you know, and you know, even I try and like anticipate where like people are going to land, and it's just it's so hard, and there's such a timing to it that I guess I just can't get I guess I can't get my brain to send the signal to my fingers quick enough where that's concerned.
I mean, sometimes even if you know exactly where they're going to land, they can just land with an air dodge and spot dodge right away, and there's no lag on that, and you just have to be ready for that option, you know what I mean?
Definitely. So, when it comes to your character, Pikachu, this is always one of the questions I love to ask also, because, you know, these are always a learning experience for me, because, you know, so far we haven't talked to one person that, you know, has mained the same character in the game yet. And I mean, obviously that was kind of mine and Timbo's goal when we decided to come up with this, but who do you feel are the best matchups for Pikachu, and who do you think is like, this is just the worst? And, you know, we're not going to talk about Timbo's DK or Rob, because I know you can take care of those easily.
Well, part of it is just those are big bodies, but yeah, any character Timbo puts up is getting hands. Don't you worry about that.
All right.
Let's see. Anybody with a poor recovery that's a big body is going to get destroyed by Pikachu, because he edge guards like crazy. He stays out there forever, covers every option off stage. And if you have to recover through a very specific route, it's kind of like when I'm covering your advantage options. I'm just going to put a hitbox where you have to go when you get there. You know what I mean? And then if they're a big body, they just get smacked all around the stage and comboed forever and looped forever. And I'm not even good at loops, but I can still loop a big body like DK. You know what I mean? So those are definitely where I'm just like free to play. Even Captain Falcon, you take advantage of Pikachu's size, you crouch and he can't hit you with anything except like 2 moves. So you just have to look out for those. As far as worst matchups go, anybody that can do something about Thunder Jolt. So like Ness has an absorption for that, Game & Watch has Bucket, Mario has Cape. All 3 of those characters have very strong anti-airs, with like Mario doing rising up air on you when you're in the air, Game & Watch up being anytime you touch his shield, Ness just jump Nair. You can never approach Ness as Pikachu because it's fair and Nair beat every single approach option you have. Basically, anything a character can do to stuff you out is good, and those characters all have like quick, big hitbox options to smack Pikachu off of him over and over and over and over and over, and invalidate his projectiles. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Everybody,
every character has good and bad matchup. It doesn't matter, you know, who you're playing. Yeah, there's advantages and disadvantages.
Even people call Pikachu top 1, and he still has characters that you objectively struggle against. Like, Sam tries to say that Peach is an even matchup, but like I said, I live with Hive, and Peach destroys Pikachu, I think. Like, maybe not destroys, but it's probably a losing matchup.
Esam said that Peach and Pikachu are even, and it got 10-1 by Samsora.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I was like, the math doesn't back you up there, boss. Like, that's not quite how it works.
Yeah, I think he might have spoke. I think he might have spoke too soon on that. That's for sure. So, what has it been like for you not to be able to attend offline events? I mean, because you were pretty much a fixture at the, you know, Cincy AL location, and you know, we're going over a year now. You know, here coming into April, what's it been like not to be able to attend like an offline event? And I know, you know, you and Timbo have, you know, done the, you know, safe social distancing, you know, and you've, you know, played in real life, you know, with him and whatnot, but which is totally different. Just because it's not you know, you guys aren't running a bracket, you know, personally in Timbo's home, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the competitive environment just isn't there, which
Right.
is a big part of it because you need some sort of competitive outlet in life. I feel like not everybody, but I'm sure everybody that's at tournaments do, And so it's not like it's been super hard, like life changing, devastating, but it's definitely feels like something's missing from my routine. You know what I mean? Because every week it's like you're finally looking forward to go seeing the boys, chilling for a few hours, seeing how well you do, and you don't have anything to even compare to that type of feeling with quarantine going on. And I kind of got even more unlucky because I was on a bit of a break before quarantine even started, since I was finishing up my last semester of school. I was student teaching
Yeah.
and getting up at like 6 a.m. every day, and
Yeah, I
so I was
forgot
like,
about
I
that.
cannot go to AL right now. And so I really maybe went to one AL that season, and then quarantine happened. So it was like even maybe 3 6 months longer than everybody else of a break for me. So it's been rough.
Yeah, I forgot about that because I know I was going a little more frequently there in the beginning of 2020,
Mhm.
and I think I only saw you like one time and all
Yeah,
of
it was
that,
unfortunate.
and it's just like, so yeah, wow, so you've been on a much longer break than everybody else has been.
Right. And then I couldn't really work, or I couldn't really attend Saturday events either because I was trying to keep up with working a job while still going student teaching and working on weekends. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
need that itch scratch for some competitive Smash again, but not Wi-Fi.
Yeah, not Wi-Fi. Well, you mean Timbo doesn't satisfy the itch? I
Maybe
mean,
if we start putting down dollars,
oh, okay. So you're
Timbo,
gonna
if
have to
we start
start
putting
money
down
matching him,
dollars.
Timbo.
I'm not trying to take all his money. He's a fresh college grad.
That's
He's
fine. I insist. I
yeah. I'm
insist.
not trying. Sometimes we know what's the best for our friends and the people we care about.
Oh,
As the
You just don't want to lose
mature,
any money.
the mature older friend in the relationship, I have to own that responsibility.
I'll let you hang on your bucks.
Yeah, that's what. Also, I need cash. So,
oh, you always have
so
something, don't you, Timbo?
Right.
we always ask this, and I don't think I've ever actually talked to you about this. Surprising to me. And what's funny is we've really only gotten two answers to this question, which I think is hilarious. But let's say, right, offline finance comes back 2025. You're sitting in top eight, right? Top eight winner's side. You're playing. It's you and seven PGR top 10 top players, right?
Okay.
Who do you want? Your first top eight
I knew this was coming.
winner side in Frostbite, right? Who do you want to be sitting across from you? Who do you say? Who do you want to be playing and be like, you're confident you could win, you could
Like, what
advance?
top player do I stand
Which
the best chance
player do you think
against?
you stand the best chance against? And we've only really gotten two answers to this question, and they're both hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I got to stew on that one for a second.
Yeah, it's a rough one.
It's okay. It's a I think who somebody else had a hard time answering it too. I think Kamui had to stew on it for a minute as well.
He
If
did. And then,
Fatality were in the top 10, he would be my easy answer.
okay, well, we'll just do PGR players, right? So just like anyone really, really good,
I would say I would be not confident going up against Fatality, but like, hey, there's a prayer's chance in hell that I can do this. That would be my thought process.
Fair enough. You're the first person to say Fatality. Everyone else has said Dark Wizzy or ESAM, which I think is so funny.
I do
Well,
too.
I played a friendly set with Fatality in Smash 4 because, like, we were at Frostbite and he was on money matches. I was just standing behind. He was like, hey, you want a money match? And I was like, I'm not trying to donate to your wallet. And he was like, we can just do friendlies then if you want. And I was like, okay, let's do a friendly set. And so we did a best of 5. And it went to game 5. And then game 5, he just, like, dumpstered me. But the fact that I even got there in Smash also, where I feel like I was the worst player, makes me feel like there's a little bit of a chance. Also, one time Hive and I took Arshad and Fatality to game 5 in doubles. That was cool.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Just Cerez is in the chat saying Jake was around for the Captain Falcon era of Cincy Smash 4.
Yeah, if there's one matchup that I know, it is Captain Falcon through Fire and Brimstone. We had practiced that one.
I'm so glad the Captain Falcon era is over because I think I would have left Cincy within.
You don't even know how many there were. It was
That's
like
what I've heard.
5 of the main ones, and that's not even counting them all.
That's wild.
Wow, really? See, I came in so late towards like the very end of it when I started like watching Fritos, and I never really went to the ALs. I mean, I know I took him to the one SOS, but I really came in towards the
Do you
very
remember
end.
Cadaghetti, Mom?
Excuse me?
Do you remember Cadaghetti?
I do remember the
Or
name.
JL Robin? Yeah, he was the one that ran Arcade Legacy before me, and he was one of the big Captain Falcon players. He was
Oh, okay.
honorable mention on the state PR at one point.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, that name,
But
I've heard the name.
he doesn't play Ultimate.
And Batman was HM in Smash 4 as well. He was very talented in Smash 4.
And neither one of them is really around at like locals or anything. Are they like?
They don't take the game nearly as seriously or like the game nearly as much as they did in Smash 4. But I would have like a crazy rivalry with Batman in Smash 4, which is embarrassing for me to say because that matchup's terrible and Pikachu should like destroy Falcon anytime they play. But he had been around the scene for a lot longer than me, and so by the time I started catching up to him, he would have these crazy back and forth sets that were always super fun to play. I kind of miss him.
Yeah, playing with him is always fun. Like
He's a thinker.
you know, and I know that even though he doesn't play the game that much anymore, like he'll mix you up sometimes. Like you know the wheels are
He's
turning.
still thinking.
Yeah, the wheels are turning for him, which is playing against people who think is rare in Smash Ultimate. It's not. It's few and far between, right?
That's true.
That's what it
So-
is. I've got too big of a brain. I try and think too
Right.
much about the game.
You're trying to sound like me, Mom. So
I'm trying to do like 7 amazing options at once, and then none of them come out.
Yeah, and then my fingers just don't,
the problem is the buffer system can't keep up with all of your inputs. That's what it is.
Yeah, facts. You're gonna
Speaking of
say
which, I also recently. No, go ahead.
no. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I switched to Pro Controller in like the past month, so that's been an interesting switch because GameCube controllers are so inconsistent. It's like even among my friends, we talk about how you have to cycle through like 5 of them before you find one that doesn't have any snapback issues, and everybody complains about this. So I'm like, you know what? I'm over it. I'm just gonna try Pro Controller now. I think my loops get a little bit better on Pro Controller, so that's the main reason.
Wow. Now, see, I know when Ultimate came out, and well, there towards I think even the end of 4, Fritos was using a Pro Controller, and he swears that when he was at the Big House 8, that he's like, I know I don't miss these inputs. And he was thinking because so many others were using Pro Controllers too, that it was causing, him to, he knew he did the input and it should have came out, but it just was like delayed or something because of all the other frequencies going on there. So he's actually switched back to GameCube controller.
I have heard of other people having that issue, and I, of course, have not gotten to attend a major yet while playing Pro Controller, but I think that if you use the wire and leave it plugged into the dock the whole time, that it alleviates that issue. But
That's probably a good point. If we get a major this year, and you decide to attend, be sure you drag your GameCube controller too.
Yeah, the thing about using the wire in majors though is a lot of them will have that like lock around the dock units where you can't open it and get the USB port, and they'll have like the GameCube adapter up front locked in too with the 2 adapters where you can't actually plug your Pro Controller into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's. I mean, we know they lock them down for a reason. So.
Of course, yeah, it makes sense. It's just
it's just inconvenient.
Side effect.
Yeah. So, in your time playing Smash, and it sounds like you've played it since, the Brawl days as well.
Competitively, but yeah, I do like some Brawl.
Okay, so then let's say, since you've played Smash competitively, so that goes back to 4,
Right.
what is your most, memorable win that you have? I mean, it can be against a person, it could be... at a specific, tournament. But are there any wins that just are like, I am so freaking proud of myself. I did this and, I've got the peacock feathers going on. What are one of those?
The first one that comes to mind is Smash 4. There was a bourbon tournament, Bourbon State Gaming. I don't remember which one it was specifically, but I was playing through my pool, and I don't remember who I even lost to in winners, but on the loser's side of the pool, the person I had to play to get out was A Star the third. And I think that he was probably projected to get like top 8 at that tournament and probably got upset early because I can't imagine why else we would be playing in losers because he was very talented in that game. And I probably was where my seed should have been at that point because, like I said, I wasn't a super like notable seed this person high player in Smash 4 yet, you know what I mean? And during that point, coaching was still legal, I remember. And the person I was just talking about, Katageti, I was like, bro, listen, I need you to coach for this. Like, and Dark Shad was coaching A Star too, so I was like, awesome.
Oh, man.
That's just what you want to see, yeah. And so I think I won game 1 of that. We were playing Lucina Pikachu, and then he won game 2. Jared hits me with some coaching, and like, if you go back and watch the VOD on YouTube now, you can see like a couple of the adjustments that I made from what Jared told me, and that's just like super stressful too. And I think Wood and Spooks are commentating it, and they're both like people that we've known for a while, of course. So they're like trying not to be biased on it, and just like I think I freaking popped off too when I won. It was like a very clutch last second win. Everybody in the venue was popping off because Cincy was there. It was a good one. That was when I was like, maybe I can be.
Right. I don't blame you. I've seen Ace the Star play when I took. We went down to the first Big Blue Showdown. I didn't go to the second one, which would have been like literally the very last one. Timbo went, I believe. And Ace the Star is the one time I saw him at Big Blue Showdown, he's really good. I think he actually won that one if I remember the first one that Queen City Streams did. So I don't blame you for popping off. That is definitely a notable win. For sure.
And he has had like a streaming presence and stuff, and has like a big YouTube as well, or at least he did in Smash 4. So it's like not necessarily that correlates with his skill, but when you think of like a big name win, that was like kind of important at that time. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
And now I think he's ranked like #1 in Kentucky, or at least he was for the last offline PR. So he's definitely improved even from that point too.
Yeah, I need to start paying closer attention to like the PRs in our surrounding states, especially at least Kentucky.
Oh yeah, I got you.
I figured, just because we get a lot of Kentucky players that come up here. I mean, I don't out of the surrounding states in Ohio, I think probably we see more Kentucky and vice versa. They see more Ohio than we do like even like Indiana or West Virginia or something like that.
Yeah. Definitely Ohio and Kentucky. Even sometimes Kentucky, we see them more than Columbus sometimes,
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's like we all go up there and support Columbus's, where's the support down here? Well,
right.
Mindset being
we also got to host some more events too, I think.
Yeah, well, Mindset being a part of DSE, that's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
So, are there any other games besides Smash that you really enjoy playing as much as you do Smash?
Nothing quite to the level of Smash, I would say. I am the person that got Timbo started on Hades. He
thanks.
Had zero intention of playing it at all, and was like, "No, I'm not playing that stupid looking game."
And now I play it like once a week.
Take your friend's recommendation, damn it. You'll like this game. I know you will. I know how you are. And now he runs like possibly the biggest speedrunning Hades event there is. And also, I was the one that started him on speedrunning it too, because I was like, I bet you can't beat my time, bitch. It was like 8 minutes or something.
And
Timbo threw down the gauntlet.
The time was beaten multiple times.
Yeah, and Timbo threw it down and said, "Watch me."
He started taking it really seriously, and I was like, I don't want to go through the 100th try of looking for this specific gun build so I can beat him. I'm over it. And now he just does like every single weapon ever and gets like world records with them.
Yeah, he's doing well with that, and he definitely did. excellent as far as bringing the hyper delivery to Dragon Squad. But Timbo's rather persistent, so the Hades people were probably just like, "Oh my God, fine, will you shut up about it if we do it?"
Right, we'll finally do the hybrid hunter. Yeah,
You know how Timbo can be.
What?
I do.
Look at that face. Like,
I
who,
am
me?
unabashedly aware of how effective my advertising can be for events that I am passionate about.
Yeah, this
And
is.
for a while, that was Smash Ultimate Online brackets. But then a year later, Nintendo said, "Timbo, you're too happy about running these online brackets. We're gonna make online worse again, so that you definitely don't have any fun with them." So
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's taken a while, but even old moms is starting to feel the entire fatigue of these online weeklies and everything. So I just really want to get back to in real life. I need to see the people I'm used to seeing, and just to watch something other than online play.
Right.
Even if like VG Boot Camp's doing something, you know what I mean? I think that's why everybody on Friday night, when I had the open arena on, there were so many people that were like logged into Twitch at like a ridiculously late time, because I think
Really?
I did it up until like 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that, because they were streaming the offline Japan tournament.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I heard that whatever the hero player's tag was, he made like some insane run and beat Zach Ray or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
he hit Zachary with the fade back hatchet, man. That was I was there.
Saying hero isn't good, but I've been new.
Oh yeah, Hero's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why everybody in the beginning was like ban hero, ban hero. It's like, no, you can't ban a character. You just have to learn how to play it.
No, I'm down for banning Hero if we want to revisit that discussion. I'm okay with it. I will always be an advocate for banning Hero, but it
Okay,
won't happen.
look, I
It
literally
won't
I,
happen.
I've put myself in a position, Timbo, that I can't do that, because when Rybread, the Miami Smash Club president, when Hero dropped, he literally said it was banned from their weeklies, and I called him pussified. So I can't, I can't like then all of a sudden be like, okay, Hero's banned from Dragon Squad events. I
Once
kinda,
you say that, you gotta stand your ground.
yeah,
Yeah.
So you're just doubling down. You don't even agree with it anymore. You're just saying the words that you said at the beginning. I'm on to you. I know you think Hero should that character anyway.
yeah,
The biggest
no,
thing about it for me is the menu being in different languages. Like if a foreign player travels to the U.S. and can't speak or read English, and I just think it's a ridiculous argument to say learn what the shapes of the words look like when you go to Japan. Like, are you kidding me?
one of the hardest languages to learn, but I mean, at the same time, they could say the same thing. They come over here and, I mean, granted, it's probably not as valid as an argument, because, every other country besides the United States, requires people to learn 2 additional languages, and one of them is always English, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where, we get like French and um, Spanish or whatever.
Yeah, it's just a weird out of game handicap that wouldn't normally occur otherwise. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I've played against Heroes or Frito's Hero, and I, that's in my mind. I'm going, why did I say that to Rybread? It's like, I would really love to ban this stupid character.
I want to be in this bitch. Yeah.
There are ways to work around it. Like there are tricks you can learn. Like you can look at the mana bar, right? Like you're not going to read faster than Hero, but like there's just so many, like things that are outside the game that you have to take into account, and like things like that should not play a factor in how well you're doing. Like visibility, language, and visibility are just like the two that should just never be a thing, right? Part of your game should not be it's hard to see. Right, like that's just not, or like you can't read. That should also be another one. But what did it for me for the Hero ban was in the reveal trailer when Sakurai literally said, "If your friends are better than you, don't worry. You have a random button that you can win sometimes. It's like that's when we should have known that Hero, the character, took the competitive integrity down the
Getting hit by like a top deck thwack or like the top deck snooze into a crit F smash just makes you want to scream.
Or just like a fade back crit F smash at like 30, and then you're just dead. Like that's just crazy. Like
It's like he's objectively not the best character in the game or even close to it, but he's just toxic.
I guess
you don't have to be objectively good to win a coin flip, right? Like you don't have to be good to win a 50-50, right?
Yeah. Sorry, we derailed a bit talking about Hero.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Always okay for derailing to talk about hero slander. That's always fine with me.
Yeah, that'd be like me derailing to, like talk about, Nest slander or the Rats slander or,
We
any
are
of those kind
all
of
for
the
the
little
Nest
kids.
all day.
Let me just
Correct.
say the little kid slander and the Rats. Those are probably the two groups that I just don't care for in the game.
Mhm.
Nothing personal, Cadence. I think you're a good Pikachu player here in Cincinnati. It's nothing against you. Don't take that personally.
Sometimes I do things with Pikachu and I'm like, did I earn that? Did they deserve to get hit by that?
The answer is no, but
The answer is no.
The answer is no, because he's probably been hit by it more than he cares to count.
well, no, we'll even be playing sometimes, and it's like we will both stop playing and look at each other and be like, "That hit? Like
Yeah.
that connected? What? More than once." So we did derail. The train of thought derailed, but kind of get
Yeah,
back on track.
Yeah.
I think
because
right now is
Yeah.
a perfect time.
Yeah, it's always a question I save for very last, especially when it comes to these level of players that we've had on these spotlight series. But what advice would you offer up to somebody, Cadence, who's just kind of playing the game casually? But they're thinking about taking the next step and wanna really take that step into the competitive side of Smash. What advice would you give to a player that was thinking of doing that?
Well, the best advice I got was, it's weird, just to ask advice after you lose to people or after every set. So the advice is to ask for advice, but after you play somebody in a specific set, like a best of 3 or whatever, they have a pretty good idea of what they did to hit you and what you did to hit them, and they can probably tell you right in that moment when it's fresh on their mind what you've done right or wrong. And if you keep doing that with every single person, sometimes people will be like, I don't really know, man, I was just pushing buttons, but sometimes people will have genuine advice, like, you jumped every time I did this, and so I hit you here, or you're mashing this in this situation, So just picking up those, like, tidbits over and over and over and over and applying it is a good thing. And then finding somebody in your scene that's close to your level or maybe just a little bit better than you and grinding it out with them forever, just friendlies over and over and over, and just, like, thinking purposefully, not necessarily like trying to win, but trying to apply, doing this combo better, or tomahawking here, which Timbo knows I still need to apply tomahawking, or do a ledge trump here, something else I never do. Those kind of.
I've played him probably for well over hundreds of hours, at least a couple hundred hours of the game. He has ledge trumped twice and tomahawked less than 5 times. But it's gonna happen. I'm gonna play him in bracket one time. That's all he's gonna do. He's saving it. I know it. He's got Trixies. He's got Trixies in the bag. He's just waiting.
He's working on it. No, I think that's really great advice. In all honesty, Cadence, because I know when my older son Dakota's home from New York, and we'll
He's a
play.
Skyline fan, right?
Huh?
He's a Skyline fan.
Oh please,
Dakota?
no, he's not.
That one. Oh,
No.
okay, sorry.
I'm Team Gold Star for the record.
Thank you. That's because you're smart, but he'll do that with me. Like when we're just sitting around and like, hey mom, you wanna play a little bit of Smash? It's like okay, and he'll do it, and I think he knows when I'm like getting frustrated, and he's like, do you know what you're doing? And I'm like, I do, and he's like, I'm punishing it every single time. He's like, and until you get it through your head not to do that, I'm going to punish it over and over and over. And it really helped me change up the ways that, I come back off of ledge, or even the way I approach ledge, when I've been knocked off stage and everything. So I think that was some pretty solid advice, in all honesty.
It can be frustrating too as you get better. The scenarios become like more specific or more complicated as to what you needed to do in that specific spot. You know what I mean? Or like sometimes I can't even tell what the mistake I'm making over and over again is versus time. But like I know he hits me 7 times in a row in this spot, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong because I'm mixing it up every time. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like
sometimes
I can't even figure it out.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm the same way. I mean, because sometimes I'll jump into the open arena and like Cereza, he'll just I must be doing the same thing, because he catches me with it every time. And even if I try and mix it up or whatever, maybe I'm just not mixing it up the right way, or I mixed it up the right way and I'm still not getting back on ledge the right way, and
or sometimes you're like pigeonholed into a train of thought and you need to think outside of the box with your character and just like use a move you typically wouldn't think works there. You know what I mean? Like I would say I use a lot of my moves in ways they're not typically used for.
So it's just something that you're not going to see Isam do, in other words. Because you think outside of the box. You don't go and study. I'm sure you look at Isam's, VODs and stuff like that. But, but it might be one of those things where it's like, well, he does that, but I can do this and it's just as effective.
Right. One thing that comes to my mind is like Pikachu's forward air. Of course, if you're hitting somebody with that, like if it doesn't connect all the way, it will fall out, and they'll just go straight below you. And it can be frustrating because it's like, man, I was hoping they'd die to that, and the move just didn't work. But they're right below you. Why don't you just down air right afterwards? And then it's like a free combo into a spike that's not like designed to be like that. But if you just react to where they're at, just hit it,
I have played him enough times to know that if I fall out of a multi-hit, I'm going to die. I'd rather just get hit by the multi-hit and carried off stage. If I get
further away from me, if you're still near me, I'm still
it's like, that's button's coming. It doesn't matter if you're connected or not. That right. I'm getting down there. Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I saw you put your hands in your head, so I figure you must have experienced that quite a few times, Timbo.
I have died for falling out of moves that don't work properly to him enough to know that even if your moves don't work, you can make them work, right? Like if you bought a Pika Fair and you just get like spiked for it, or sometimes he'll just fast fall a multi-hit and you're playing Donkey Kong and there's literally no option. You just can't come back.
My other favorite one is when you're setting up like a stage spike with the Pikachu back air and they're like, oh Lord, is it going to hit me into the wall? Do I need to tech? And then you can like fast fall the back air to where the last hit doesn't connect and they're expecting it, so they think they're going to get launched and try and tech, but then they just do the stupid directional air dodge and they die, and you laugh.
I'd love to just like, sit in the background, watch you and Timbo play some friendlies, before Timbo, leaves, and heads down to Alabama to, get his PhD and everything. I'm going to see if we can make that happen. I know you're immunized, Timbo. I get my second one here in a couple of weeks. So
he is too. He and I have both been.
Are you immunized? You got the COVID shot?
Yeah, I got very lucky because I worked with Campbell County High School's marching band in 2019.
Awesome.
And if you were on their employee roster for 2019 or 2020, they gave everybody on their staff the vaccine. So I got my first dose January 31st. So I was pretty ahead of the
You were way ahead of us. Good for you.
Very lucky.
We've been playing immunized friendlies for a while now, right? Like we've both been good for a little bit.
Well, when I get immunized, I'm gonna watch you guys play immunized friendlies, and I'm gonna be the immunized spectator and cackle and hackle you in the background, Timbo.
I can't wait for it.
There's a fair bit of discourse that goes on.
Oh, I'm sure
during our sets, and it's not always positive from one or both of us. It is not always friendly banter.
Yeah, and that's okay.
I've been known to throw things at him in the middle of a.
Did you hear that Jesse is bringing back Fight Night at Arcade Legacy on April 22nd?
I did hear that. I haven't put a lot of it out there yet because I figure it's Jesse's place, but him and I had a long discussion. Fritos met up with some friends last Saturday, and so I had a long discussion with him about it because he knows that I want to get a monthly going with Dragon Squad at both his locations. So he kind of dropped that date. Asked for what I thought my advice would be with some of the kids that I know, which I can get it through Fritos, right? Because he talks to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he still hasn't put it out there because he's really watching the numbers, and I know that we've had I know they've gone up a little bit here.
Exactly. He asked me to kind of spread the word about that opening, and he says he doesn't expect everybody to come back all at once.
Right.
And for me, I'm like, yes, we do not need everybody to come back all at once. That would be really bad, And I personally, even though I'm immunized, don't feel ready or comfortable to run events on that date yet. So I encourage people though to stop in and look at the arcade and play some games on there, or maybe purchase some things he has for sale, or even play socially distanced friendlies in one setup. But I just think that the time for organized groups coming together for something will be April 22nd.
Yeah, I don't know that the three of us are going to be going up to AL on Thursday and running locals. Right, I don't think any of us would be doing that. I don't think any Cincy TOs are going to be doing that anywhere here.
Fortunately, the vaccine numbers just aren't high enough yet, I don't think, and some people, of course, might not even be willing to get it. There's a whole conversation about whether or not we'll be able to do card-only events. There's just so much uncertainty to look at when it comes to starting events back up.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I think that, I know, Jesse's going to require masks, for the foreseeable future. And he knows that, that there may not be, anybody that shows up at the first one, or, some people may just come along and it just turns out to be friendlies. And, he's a business owner, so he has to do what he has to do, right? I mean, he's taken a huge hit, like any other, small business.
Yeah, you can't fault it for opening back up.
Right. So I don't think that he'll be. Yeah, I don't think he'll be overly reckless about it because he had even mentioned to me if it started to get to be too many people, he'd start turning people away, just to keep it down.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think that 4/22 is the date that we'd be shooting for, but of course, one of these days, offline weeklies are going to come back. So I think that we have to have like a long conversation about the steps we take for that. You know what I mean? Like
definitely
pre-reg only on Smash GG. Of course, masks required. I was talking about, majors for their stream setups tend to do 2 monitors facing back to back, and the players sit on opposite ends of the tables.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to try and invest in a few of those HDMI splitters to make that happen, because that would. No offense to Smashers, but they don't really get personal space 100% of the time. So I just think it would be a good idea to have them playing on opposite ends of the table.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
I think the double monitor split and 60 departments should probably just be the new norm regardless of COVID, right? Just
it's going to be hard because you're going to have half the setups at that point, but you should have not nearly as many entrants in an area at one time either. And also we could spitball around with going tournaments in waves, smaller weeklies. Like if we were to raise the cap, we could have wave A competing during this time, wave B competing during this time, and then when it's a smaller group after people have been eliminated, bring them back together. But that brings up the issue of sticking around for friendlies, and there's just
right. Yeah. Well, and
that's what I mean. There's so many variables.
What makes our scene a little luckier than maybe some of the other local scenes is we have an entire empty mall. It doesn't have to take place in AL. It could be moved out to where, Cost was held, or even in the food court area, So, I mean, if you just try and look at it as a whole and realize that Arcade Legacy sits in an empty mall, and you could definitely, do, a weekly, maybe a capped weekly at 24 people or whatever, because you can put some of them out in the mall and some of them in our AL. So I mean,
Exactly.
we have a little more flexibility to play around with it. When it comes, but I don't. I think Jesse will see a couple people, but I don't think he's going to see the numbers that he's hoping for on April 22nd. Especially
For sure.
since 16, you can just start getting 16 and over. The kids start getting the vaccines, so that's going to put them until mid-May for the vaccine to
Exactly.
fully
For the
kick
second
in
dose,
and
right.
whatnot. So maybe Jesse would be better well served if he waited till like the end of May to maybe bring the weeklies back. But again, he's a business owner. He's got to do what he's got to do.
And even then, there's the fact that vaccine-only locals doesn't necessarily prevent everything because the vaccine doesn't stop you from getting it. It just makes it less impactful on you and less transmissive, right? But it's still possible. So it's like all of
Exactly.
these things. It's just you can be light with it and like not take it very seriously, but you have to realize as a TO that like it is a lot of people's safety on the line. So it's not something I'd want to take lightly, and you have to put a lot of thought about when we will be ready to safely come back.
I
And
agree.
it's not a decision I make on my own either, of course. This
Well,
is like
no,
a community thing.
and the biggest thing is is the impact and the information that we need is from the players themselves, and when they are going to feel safe in coming back.
Mhm.
I mean, we can think they'll be feeling safe coming back beginning of June, and they may be like, nope, not yet.
Right.
So, I mean, thankfully we have ways of, reaching out to the community. But on that note, talking about AL and TOing and everything, I think it's a good segue into making another announcement here at the end of this Player Spotlight series, and announcing that Cadence has actually agreed to join DragonSquad eSports as a TO when locals and weeklies come back at AL. There will be a Dragon Squad presence there because Cadence, obviously, with Mass being gone, is going to step back in and take that rollover. No, it's not going to change, the AL, 251 and the big ALs. And, I mean, there's going to be no name change where anything like that's concerned. But Cadence and and Timbo will have some conversations on the side about what we would like to see. It's funny you already mentioned about pre-reg on Smash GG. I really don't want challenge used anymore.
Especially with did you see the PGstats.com where they have started compiling every single player's results based on Smash GG? So
Yeah.
at that point, I feel like it just makes a lot of sense to switch to it so that people can see their results from our weeklies on like the hub for Smash.
Right. Exactly. And I think PG Stats has done good. So glad to have you as part of the team, Cadence. It just, got so far the way I look at it is, I think Dragon Squad's got some of the best people between Timbo and, yourself and Mindset up in Columbus. So welcome
Can't forget
aboard.
Mom's.
Okay. All right.
She's there,
Yeah, I just,
He's a great
I'm here
part
in the
of the
background stressing about it all the time.
He's just like does it all and handles all the responsibility and does all the stuff I don't want to do and does everything, but like nothing.
Just a little bit, yeah. But I'm very excited. Thank you for the opportunity. I mean, asking me to join. I have some ideas stewing in my head, as you can tell, for when events do come back. I'll be chomping at the bit to get them going again. Hopefully we can get a Cincinnati monthly going because that's something that we've been lacking forever, honestly.
Well, good thing that you're part of the organization because I can clue you in on what I've dreamt up last year when I came up with Dragon Squad and then COVID hit, and it's like, okay, great, there goes my monthly idea, So, I mean, when Timbo leaves, May 9th is your official last day in Cincinnati for anybody listening on stream. We'll have to make sure that we get each other's personal information, Jake, so that we can keep in touch. Because God knows I asked Timbo to do something. He's like, oh, no, I forgot to ask Jake about that. It's like, Timbo, that was 3 days ago.
Oh, my God, I know. And he sees me all the time, like going to the gym and stuff, too. So no excuses.
You make him forget because you're late.
Yeah, she might be spitting, Jake. That might be.
All right. So with that being said, again, welcome Jake Cadence to DragonSquad eSports. Thank you for taking time out on this Sunday evening to talk with us and give our viewers a chance to get to know you a little bit better. Timbo, always appreciate you joining as well. What do we have coming up?
Do you always appreciate me joining?
That's debatable, but yes, the only announcement I have is Chronow 14 is taking place this Thursday, 6 p.m. Bracket is up and live now on Smash GG. Be sure you get registered, $25 winner take all prize pot. And just stay tuned to Dragon Squad's Twitter account because I'm always putting up announcements there about upcoming tournaments that we're hosting online for now, and then our new Hades Hyper Delivery event as well. There will be all the information up there if anybody's interested in getting into that. Always appreciate your support for Dragon Squad. Everybody, have a good night, and we'll see you on Thursday.
You want to give Time Gear a little raid? Go raid the channel, or